Marvel Studios veteran producer Victoria Alonso has left the studio. This was reported on 2 days ago. Marvel Studios executive Victoria Alonso has exited the studio. Variety has confirmed. She joined Marvel Studios in 2006 as Executive Vice President of Visual Effects and Post-Production, serving as co-producer on early Marvel Cinematic Universe films like Iron Man, Iron Man 2, Thor, and Captain America, The First Avenger. Since then, Alonso has worked as an executive producer on every Marvel Studios film and TV show since 2012's The Avengers. In 2015, Alonso was promoted to Executive VP of Production, and in 2021, she was up to President of Physical Post-Production, Visual Effects, and Animation. It's a lot of things to manage at Marvel Studios. In her role, she oversaw all of Marvel's post-production, including its visual effects work, which has come under repeated and vociferous criticism by visual effects professionals. Most recently, the special effects in last month's Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania came under fire, and reviews for the film were notably more negative than previous Marvel movies. The third installment of the Ant-Man franchise had its largest opening weekend ever at $105 million, but fell below 2015's Ant-Man and its sequel at the worldwide box office. Last year's TV series She-Hulk Attorney at Law also received some backlash for the look of the titular green hero among the devoted MCU fans. Despite her sudden exit on Friday, Alonso is credited as a producer on the upcoming Marvel films Guardians of the Galaxy 3, The Marvels, plus the Disney shows Secret Invasion, Ironheart, Echo, and Agatha Coven of Chaos. In addition to her work with Marvel, she's also producer on Argentina 1985, which won the Golden Globe for Best Foreign Language Film and received an Oscar nom. Alonso has been named multiple times Variety's Power of Women LA Impact Report. Last June, Variety exclusively announced that she had written a memoir titled Possibility is Your Superpower about her Hollywood career after growing up in La Plata, Argentina. Quote, "You don't need a cape, you don't need a hammer, you don't need a shield. Your superpower is your voice, and your voice will create change for yourself, for society, and for those who love you, who you love." Alonso said, "If you use your voice, you will create the kind of energy that will bring change to us. To not use your voice is silence, silence is poison." So there are a couple things about this. One, the visual effects had been getting worse. Whether that was her or putting too many deadlines too close together on all the visual effects studios that they hire. A couple weeks ago when Josh and I were talking about the credits of Ant-Man and how there was 30 companies that had done visual effects in the credits for Ant-Man, it seemed impossible to me that you're always going to get a certain style throughout the movie of the same visual effects and quality. It's pretty hard to manage 30 different studios along with all of the subcontractors that those studios have. I have a friend who works in the visual effects business, and he has talked about how he gets subcontracted by a subcontractor and then he doesn't get a credit in the movie because there's a limit of what the guild will let you get a credit on if you're a subcontractor versus a contractor. There have also been reports that she isn't very nice to people and has kind of had a toxic work environment. If you were on her good side, then you got promoted, you did well, but if you were on her bad side, you were blacklisted and didn't get work as a visual effects company or artist. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. I know we have talked in the past couple years since we've been doing the show that a lot of visual effects companies either have a lot of gripes with Marvel or won't work with Marvel anymore because of the tight deadlines or not knowing what they want, or they make too many changes with not enough time. Whether this is kind of like, well, this was Ant-Man was going to be your last straw and they said you should leave. Exit doesn't say she was fired, and Exit doesn't say she resigned. Exit doesn't really say either way whether she was fired or decided to leave on her own, or maybe both sides thought it was best for her to kneel on the sword, I guess, for all the problems with visual effects in the last year. It'll be interesting to see, like, obviously she has a number of projects that she's still credited for with visual effects, like Secret Invasion, Marvels, etc. But if we get a definable, after those credits are over and those projects have come out, do we get a noticeable improvement on visual effects and with the new person who takes over? I kind of think at this point, and Josh and I have talked about this before, that Marvel Studios probably has to make their own visual effects studio, a la Industrial Light and Magic and what Lucasfilm did. They should probably put together a gigantic studio of visual effects artists that gives them enough time to do the work, to do quality work, and not have an unbalanced quality across 30 different visual effects companies. Like, even huge game studios these days farm out work to smaller studios, but there's a head studio and it's usually one or two that does it, not 30. So it's probably a better idea to create their own visual effects studio that just works on Marvel movies. They might save money doing that too in the long run, because they're not getting charged a ton of money by visual effects studios, because they know Marvel has to hire these companies to do it. They're kind of in a bind. So so I guess in about a year and a half we'll see whether the new guy or girl, whoever takes over, if there's a noticeable change in quality. And then Bob Iger also talked about spacing things out along with Kevin Feige. It's got to be quality over quantity now, so maybe that comes in tow with the new visual effects guy. So